bring you this now. The South African Medical Association has expressed dismay and reports that some healthcare workers, including doctors, have been discouraging patients from getting COVID-19 vaccinations. Just recently, a well-known doctor made statements about the COVID-19 jab. So let's get more on this with the association's chairperson, Dr. Angelique Coetzee. Dr. Coetzee, good morning to you, and thank you so much for your time. I think before we get into what actions, SAMA might be taking against doctors who are anti-vaccination and your thoughts on this, have you always been aware that there is a possibility that there might be some professionals, perhaps even some under your association, that are anti-vaccines?
Good morning. Yes, we know that doctors are a unique breed. They have their own ideas, which is fair. You can have your own ideas, you can have your own opinions, but we are now in a different situation. We are currently under the Disaster Management Act, and therefore your ethical obligations against what information you are giving out to your patients, especially around COVID-19 and vaccination, must then follow the normal pathway of good, solid scientific evidence before you give your own opinion. So your own opinion should be secondary. And if you have an own opinion, you must base it, again, on solid evidence. No evidence, then you cannot just give your own opinion.
So let's talk about then, one particular doctor. I'm sure you've seen this in the media, Dr. Susan Vosloo, in the media, on social media, sort of sharing her statements and sentiments about, vaccines. It didn't receive a lot of support from the likes of yourselves as SAMA, other, interest groups as well, who felt that this was disinformation. What's your position as SAMA at this point when, I suppose, a doctor, a heart surgeon, whatever the case may be, a professional, medical professional that comes out publicly to share anti-vaccination sentiments? What's your stance then on this?
From SAMA's side, if you can't prove it, again, with good or back up it with good scientific information from a trustworthy source, I must unfortunately add that as well to the equation. If you can't do that, you might be in breach of unethical behavior and also in breach of the Disaster Management Act. Again, this is not the same as I do not agree that this operation must go forward, or, I'm not sure whether my child should take measles injections or not, or vaccinations or not. This is something totally different. And we have noticed that our members, and not only our members, but also the profession out there, are starting to get into ethical breaching, and we have to now start to remind them of the consequences thereof. Because if you get acquitted on, or if you get a complaint against you regarding unethical behavior, if you, in your own personal belief, without sound advice, are telling a patient not to take the vaccine, and that patient dies of COVID-19, then you might be held liable by the family. And you'll have to prove on what grounds did you advise that patient not to take the vaccine.
Yeah. Doc, I suppose we're having this conversation as well because we already know there's a lot of misinformation around the vaccine going out there. And perhaps you could say it's coming mostly from, individuals that are not necessarily medical experts. They're either sharing their vaccine hesitancy for personal reasons, religious reasons, or whatever reason that could be. But what damage does it make should vaccine hesitancy or misinformation come from a qualified medical profession? I mean, what difference in damage does it make when it's just, two people having a conversation about, no, I'm not sure, than it coming as advice from a medical professional?
Very valid question, because you have, we as medical professionals and doctors are regarded as a source of information. We are seen by the community as being knowledgeable. So therefore, whatever we are saying, especially during the Disaster Management Act, and while we're still in lockdown 3, we are seen as the source of knowledge. So your word actually carries a lot of weight. And therefore, you need to be careful what you are saying out there. You have to understand, even if you put your opinion on a WhatsApp group or on any other social media platform, you might be held accountable going forward for what you said in maybe a moment when you really wasn't on your guard. But it's not going to help you if you're standing in front of the HPCSA or in front of a court. You unfortunately will have to prove your sources, where you got it, and how. So doctors can have their own opinions based, again, on solid medical grounds, solid evidence that's been there from a reputable source, and therefore we're not saying you should believe everything that's out there. We are saying make sure whatever you say to your patients,
right,
or on any WhatsApp group, that you can back it up.
All right. Well, we leave it there. And thank you so much for speaking to us. South African Medical Association's National Chairperson, Dr. Angelique Coetzee.